Picture this. Dawn breaks, and a small group of people steps out of a cave. Some are already scanning the horizon for game. Others are tending to a fire that never goes out. This is the world of our Paleolithic ancestors. What did they actually do all day, though? I mean, is it really just that cartoonish image of cavemen clubbing mammoths and dragging women by the hair? It's so wild to think about. That's not even close to the full story. So, how did they spend their time when survival was a full-time job? When we say cavemen, we are talking about humans from the Paleolithic era, a period that stretches from 2.6 million years ago to about 12,000 years ago. That's over 99% of human history, long before farms, cities, or writing. But don't mistake long for boring. This era was packed with incredible innovation in technology, society, and art. Our understanding comes from clues they left behind: stone tools, ancient campfires, food remains, and sometimes even preserved textiles or wood. We also get hints from stunning cave art and small, portable artifacts that open a window into their symbolic world. And by studying modern hunter-gatherer societies, we can make educated guesses, though we have to be careful not to draw direct lines across tens of thousands of years. Life wasn't the same for everyone. Someone living in Africa 2 million years ago had a very different day from a Cro-Magnon artist painting in a French cave 20,000 years ago. The biggest factor? Climate. During the Ice Ages, survival in frozen Europe required totally different tricks than in warmer, greener regions. Coastal groups became expert fishers, while forest dwellers hunted different animals and gathered different plants. But the one thing that connects all Paleolithic people is their hunter-gatherer lifestyle. So, let's rewind the clock and see what a typical day, or season, was really like for our ancient ancestors. Their day started with the sun. Forget alarm clocks and artificial lights. They lived by natural rhythms. The first job was to get the fire roaring again. At sites in France, we found hearths that were carefully maintained for warmth, light, cooking, and protection. Starting a fire from scratch was tough, so they'd keep embers glowing all night. Mornings were for planning. Is food low? Do tools need fixing? Any animal tracks nearby? Getting water was a daily chore, carried in containers made from animal bladders or woven baskets. But it wasn't just about what they needed right now. They were also brilliant long-term planners. A site in Israel, almost 800,000 years old, shows they had an incredible knowledge of seasonal plant cycles. The day's main event was always getting food. Men often hunted larger animals, while women usually gathered plants and hunted smaller game. But these roles weren't set in stone. There was a lot of flexibility. By midday, they might be prepping food, fixing tools, or just resting. As evening approached, the community gathered around the fire for storytelling, planning, and just being together. Getting food was the core of their existence. Hunting big game took serious skill and teamwork. Early on, they were probably scavengers, but by 500,000 years ago, we see clear evidence of organized hunts. In England, a horse's shoulder blade was found with a spear wound in it, proof they were hunting, not just finding leftovers. Early hunters used simple hand axes and wooden spears. But by 400,000 years ago, they were crafting perfectly balanced throwing spears. Around 30,000 years ago, the spear thrower, a tool that launched darts with incredible force, was a game changer. But hunting was risky, so gathering plants was the reliable backup. They ate a huge variety of tubers, fruits, nuts, and greens. How do we know? We've analyzed the gunk on their teeth, their dental plaque, and found traces of countless plant species, including medicinal ones. Gathering wasn't just picking berries. It required a deep, encyclopedic knowledge of the landscape, passed down through generations. And they fished, too. At a 9,000-year-old site in Illinois, we found bone fishhooks and nets. Everything was dictated by the seasons. Spring meant eggs and fresh greens. Summer was for berries. In autumn, they'd gather nuts and prep for winter, which often meant relying on stored food like dried meat, the original jerky, or things kept in cool underground pits. And you know what? Their diet was incredibly diverse and healthy, often much better than the first farmers who came after them. The real breakthrough, though, was cooking. It made food easier to digest, unlocked more calories, and neutralized toxins in certain plants. Paleolithic people were also master craftsmen, constantly making and fixing tools. A skilled person could chip a sharp edge on a stone in minutes, but more complex tools took hours. And you can see the technology get better over time. The earliest tools were simple choppers. Then came the beautifully symmetrical hand axes. Later, They developed techniques to create specialized flakes for different jobs. And by the Upper Paleolithic, around 40,000 years ago, there was an explosion of creativity. Tiny blades for engraving, scrapers for hides, and deadly projectile points. And it wasn't just stone. Wood was probably the most common material, though it rarely survives. We have a few amazing examples, like perfectly crafted wooden spears. Bone, antler, and ivory were also huge, carved into fishhooks, sewing needles, and harpoons. They also needed containers, probably starting with natural things like gourds and shells, but later weaving baskets and sewing hide bags. The first pottery actually shows up around 20,000 years ago in China. And of course, they needed clothes, especially in the cold, using stone scrapers to prepare hides and bone needles to sew them together. So, where did these cavemen actually live? Well, despite the name, caves were just one option. They were great natural shelters, especially in bad weather, but they were often used seasonally, not year-round. More often, they built their own homes. We found traces of large oval huts made from wooden posts, and even incredible mammoth bone structures in Ukraine, which were likely covered with animal hides. Inside, life was organized. The fire was in the center, with spots for sleeping, making tools, and preparing food. Life wasn't just about survival, it was about community. The basic group was a band of about 20 to 30 people, but these bands weren't isolated. They traded all kinds of stuff over hundreds of miles, keeping huge social circles alive. Sharing food was absolutely essential for creating strong bonds and meaningful obligations among people. Plus, they had a vibrant mix of art, music, and culture that enriched their lives. We've found bone flutes from 43,000 years ago that can play recognizable scales. Paired with drums, which don't preserve, they must have had rich musical traditions. So what did cavemen do all day? They hunted, gathered, and planned for the future. They crafted incredible tools. They built homes, raised their children, and cared for each other. They made art, played music, and told stories. They weren't just surviving, they were thriving, adapting to immense challenges with creativity and skill. The next time you picture a caveman, don't think of a brute. Imagine a person who's part scientist, part artist, part engineer, and a community builder, all in one amazing package. Thanks for watching. If you found this journey back in time fascinating, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into our incredible past. See you next time.